On the morning of November 10, 2015, Davey Blackburn experienced a profound shock. After returning from his workout and a delayed exit from his car due to a phone call, he rushed into his home on Sunnyfield Court. There, he found his wife unresponsive on the living room floor. Amidst the chaos of the disheveled room, he performed a quick check for vital signs and immediately called for emergency assistance. The living room, the scene of the tragedy, was in disarray, with items strewn about and his wife's purse emptied. Upstairs, the cries of a small child could be heard. Within 8 minutes, emergency services arrived, securing the area and filling the house with police officers and investigators. The victim, identified as 28-year-old Amanda Blackburn, was swiftly taken to the hospital. Amanda Blackburn's journey from a devout upbringing to her college years reflects a life deeply rooted in faith. Graduating from Elkhart Christian Academy in 2006, she swiftly completed her associate's degree by 2008 at Pensacola Christian College. Raised in a family where Christianity was central, Amanda embraced the teachings and traditions of her father's church, the First Baptist Church in Elkhart, Indiana. Her commitment to her faith was evident from an early age, as she internalized and lived by the sermons and psalms that were part of her daily life. Unlike her peers, who eagerly explored the freedoms of adulthood, Amanda's devotion was to Jesus, aspiring to serve and embody the virtues she held dear. Her angelic demeanor, characterized by her blonde hair and gentle smile, was matched by a purity of thought and heart. Her actions consistently demonstrated love and kindness towards others, a testament to her vow of chastity, which she upheld with unwavering conviction. Amanda's heart, however, found its match in Davey Blackburn, a fellow believer from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Davey, who pursued religious studies at Southern Wesleyan University, shared Amanda's deep Christian faith. Their paths crossed on a blind date, an encounter that blossomed into a profound and singular love, forever altering the course of their lives. Amanda and Davey Blackburn's relationship was a testament to their shared values and deep faith. While attending different colleges, they maintained their connection through every vacation spent together, cherishing a platonic love that transcended earthly desires. Their bond was strengthened by shared walks, intimate conversations, and mutual appreciation for church literature. Their love was filled with joy in life's simple pleasures and a shared sense of humor, exemplified by playful moments like their mock milkshake drinking contest. Davey affectionately nicknamed Amanda Milk Girl, a term that reflected his realization that she was the one he wanted to spend his life with. Despite the challenges of a long-distance relationship, they remained in constant communication, using messengers and phone calls to bridge the physical gap. Their commitment to a respectful and loving relationship led them to seek guidance from a psychologist to enhance their communication skills. On August 1, 2008, Amanda and Davey united in marriage, a union Davey believed was part of God's plan, creating a special bond between them. Following their wedding, they lived in South Carolina, where Davey served as an associate pastor at New Spring Church under Pastor Perry Noble. Yet, Davey harbored aspirations that would soon lead them on a new path. Davey Blackburn suggested to Amanda that they move to Indianapolis to establish a new church for the youth. Working as a youth pastor, production director, and assistant campus pastor, he saw a great future in it. Initially, Amanda did not want to leave her family and part with her loved ones, but she eventually agreed, believing in her husband's words that God had great things in store for them. In 2012, the Blackburn family moved from South Carolina to Indianapolis to found an independent church on the north side of the city. The organization was geared towards young people, which was emphasized in the weekly videos the couple posted on their website offering relationship advice, conflict resolution, and biblical teachings on intimate relationships. In 2014, the family welcomed their first child, Weston Blackburn. The family was happy, a cozy home on a quiet street, a beloved job at the church, which was regularly attended by many young people. Their sermons were listened to and believed in, they lived in perfect harmony and understanding. But on November 10, 2015, an event occurred that changed the family's life forever. Emergency crews arrived at the Blackburn residence on Sunnyfield Court around 8 a.m. where they found Amanda Blackburn, who was pregnant, in critical condition. She was taken to the hospital and placed on a ventilator, receiving resuscitative efforts. Tragically, Amanda and her unborn daughter, whom the family intended to name Evie Grace, passed away the following day. The community expressed profound sympathy and offered prayers through social media, deeply mourning the loss. On November 11th, the day Amanda was declared deceased, Davey Blackburn shared a heartfelt statement. He honored Amanda's dedication to loving and serving others and her mission to lead people to Jesus Christ. He expressed his belief that her legacy would inspire more individuals to find faith. The crime shocked not only the Blackburn family but also the entire state, prompting a public outcry for justice for Amanda and her unborn child. In an interview, Davey recounted discovering his wife injured and unconscious. He had left the house early that morning, leaving the door unlocked, a detail that became a focal point in the investigation. Despite the initial chaos, it was soon established that Davey was not a suspect in the case. The incident remains a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the impact of such tragedies on a community. The testimony of Davey Blackburn is corroborated by Scott Floyd, the first emergency medical paramedic from the Indianapolis Fire Department to arrive at the scene following Davey's 911 call. According to Floyd, Davey was waiting at the end of the driveway with bloodied hands when the emergency team arrived. Floyd noted that Davey appeared very calm and seemed bewildered by the situation with his wife, Amanda. Davey recounted that he returned from the gym around 7:30 a.m. and continued a phone conversation with his friend Kenneth Wagner in the driveway. During the call, he occasionally checked through the front door window to see if his baby, Weston, was awake. After concluding the call at 8:10 a.m., Davey entered the house to find Amanda lying face down on the floor. Believing she might be sick or had fainted, he delayed calling emergency services until 8:22 a.m., a full 12 minutes later. Davey repeatedly expressed that he initially thought the incident was a complication with the pregnancy, perhaps causing Amanda to become dizzy and collapse. The delay in his failure to immediately recognize the severity of Amanda's condition, including the presence of brain matter near her body, have been points of scrutiny. The emergency room efforts that followed were unable to save Amanda and her unborn child. Dr. Scott Floyd's testimony indicated that the coagulated blood on Amanda Blackburn's head suggested the gunshot wound occurred a couple of hours before he examined her. Although these details were not publicly disclosed, Davey Blackburn confirmed that after calling 911, he contacted his father. The defense attorneys chose not to cross-examine Davey. His alibi was supported by gym surveillance footage, and he was not considered a suspect. An autopsy on November 12 revealed that Amanda suffered a gunshot wound to the back of her head, another to her lower left arm affecting her biceps, and a through-and-through gunshot wound on her upper back. Additional injuries, including multiple scratches on her left cheek, a split lip, and a dislodged lower tooth, suggested a struggle with her assailant. In response, a comprehensive investigation was initiated. Authorities reviewed CCTV footage from the surrounding area and conducted interviews with neighbors and family acquaintances. Notably, a neighbor reported hearing gunshots approximately 35 minutes before the emergency services were alerted. This information contributed to piecing together the events surrounding the tragic incident. After Davey Blackburn left his house, a neighbor, Reginald Townsell, expressed disbelief that such a shooting could happen in their peaceful neighborhood, emphasizing that the Blackburns were undeserving of this tragedy. The community was in shock, holding the Blackburn family in high regard as kind and loving individuals. The initial suspicion was robbery, given Amanda's injuries and the missing items, including bank cards and a MacBook bag. On the morning of November 10, 2015, police received multiple emergency calls about home invasions in the vicinity of the Blackburn residence. At around 5:20 a.m., a woman discovered her personal belongings and car missing, with the sliding glass door to her apartment left open. Later, another burglary was reported on Sunnyfield Court, where various items were stolen. Shortly thereafter, another call from Sunnyfield Court reached emergency services. It was from Davey Blackburn. Lieutenant Richard R. of the Indianapolis Police Department mentioned that the police were investigating a possible link between the homicide and other burglaries in the area that morning. While details of the investigation remained confidential, the police released images of potential suspects obtained from one of the burglarized homes, seeking public assistance to further the investigation. Davey Blackburn remained confident in the police department's efforts to apprehend the perpetrator of his wife's murder. The investigators were given unprecedented clearance to pursue the investigation, bolstering their confidence that the promising leads they had would soon result in finding those responsible. The pivotal clues that led to the identification of the three suspects included a stolen pink sweater, cell phone records, and an ATM receipt. These items were discovered in a stolen Chrysler Sebring, which was implicated in the robberies and found on November 11th near the Blackburn residence. The debit card detailed on the receipt was matched to Amanda Blackburn's stolen card. With a warrant, investigators reviewed ATM camera footage, which captured the driver concealing his face with the stolen pink sweater. The police utilized DNA testing, surveillance footage, and witness statements to pinpoint the suspects. DNA evidence from the sweater confirmed Jalen Watson as one of the culprits. Watson's identification marked a significant turning point in the case. His cell phone records were accessible to the authorities because his number was already in the system due to his parole status from a previous burglary. Cell phone records for Diana Gordon were also retrieved, which demonstrated that both Watson's and Gordon's phones were present in the vicinity of the crime scene. Additionally, these records indicated that both individuals were near the Chase Bank where Amanda Blackburn's debit card was utilized on the day she was murdered. Larry Taylor emerged as a crucial element in solving the case. Police identified Taylor's phone number and traced his address by analyzing surveillance footage from the area. Subsequently, a firearm was discovered near the Blackburn residence. A man turned in the weapon to the Broad Ripple Fire Department, claiming it was found outside the Blackburns' home. The gun was subjected to forensic analysis by crime lab technicians. After 2 weeks of thorough investigation and detective work, police charged 18-year-old Larry Taylor and 21-year-old Jalen Watson with the murder of Amanda Blackburn. A third suspect in the burglary, 24-year-old Deano Gordon, was arrested for a parole violation but was not charged with a felony since he did not enter the Blackburn residence. Following the receipt of crime lab results, the gun found near the victim's home was confirmed as the murder weapon. All three suspects were apprehended. During questioning, Larry Taylor confessed to shooting the woman twice somewhere because she resisted and he wanted to avoid being scratched. After she fell, he admitted to shooting her in the back of the head and watching her bleed to death. The trio had intended to rob the Blackburn home. The assailants, motivated by financial gain, decided to target the Blackburn residence, knowing that the husband had left the front door unlocked when he departed for the gym. Upon entering, they encountered Amanda Blackburn and, to neutralize her, Taylor assaulted her with a firearm. Witnessing this, Watson and Gordon wished to leave, as they had already secured the bank cards they previously pilfered. They attempted to withdraw $500 from one ATM without success but managed to extract $1,400 from another. It was during this transaction that they were captured on CCTV. Afterwards, they returned to the Blackburn home to collect Taylor. During their absence, Amanda regained consciousness and confronted the intruder, leading to a physical altercation. Subsequently, Taylor placed the stolen debit cards in the vehicle of an accomplice who was at an ATM during the crime. Upon their return, Taylor confessed to shooting Amanda. Court documents revealed that the Blackburn residence was the third site targeted by Taylor, Watson, and Gordon on November 10th. In the initial burglary, the culprits stole a laptop, wallet, and car while the occupant slept. Despite realizing they were being recorded by a security camera, they proceeded to another residence, where they broke in through a patio window and continued their thefts. The affidavit detailed the array of items stolen by the perpetrators, including 4 televisions, a laptop, jewelry, a bag of oranges, and a pink sweater. This particular sweater became a pivotal piece of evidence, as Watson's DNA was discovered on it. The sweater had been used to conceal his identity from a surveillance camera while he attempted to withdraw money using Amanda Blackburn's bank card. Both Watson and Gordon later cooperated with the authorities, which resulted in reduced sentences. Larry Taylor waived his right to silence, admitting his presence near the crime scene. Although he claimed confusion and a lack of memory regarding his exact actions, the evidence led to formal charges. Taylor was indicted on 13 counts, including murder for the death of Amanda Blackburn. Jalen Watson faced felony charges, and along with Taylor, was accused of multiple counts of burglary, robbery, and theft. Diana Gordon, already detained for parole violation, was also charged with burglary. A fourth individual, aware of the crimes but not an active participant, was interrogated and released. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, collaborating with the gang unit and federal marshals, apprehended Taylor. Police Chief Rick Height commended the interagency cooperation that culminated in the arrests. The detectives, with support from Assistant U.S. Attorney Josh Minkler and the prosecutor, worked relentlessly to resolve the murders and bring justice to the city. Prosecutors stated that justice prevailed because the victim was pregnant, and they considered the possibility of filing additional charges related to the fetus. Despite the woman's underwear being removed and her shirt pulled up, they reported that there was no evidence to support rape charges. Larry Taylor's first trial began in December 2021 but was interrupted within seconds when it was discovered that one of the jurors had shared information about the case with other jurors. This disclosure halted the trial, and a mistrial was declared. The final trial took place in October 2022. Jury selection was more thorough. Over 100 people were drawn as potential jurors, each having to fill out a 16-page questionnaire so attorneys could assess whether they could reach a fair verdict. Larry Joe Taylor was sentenced to 86 years in the Indiana State Correctional Institution for the murder of Amanda Blackburn and additional charges related to a home burglary. Diana Gordon and Jalen Watson agreed to plea deals and testified against Larry Taylor at trial. Both received sentences ranging from 20 to 35 years in prison. Jalen Watson and Larry Taylor are currently incarcerated in the Marion County Jail. In Indiana, a murder conviction can result in 45 to 60 years in prison, and some are punishable by life imprisonment or the death penalty. Prosecutors filed a motion to enhance Larry Taylor's sentence, which means he could face an additional 20 years in prison because Amanda Blackburn was pregnant when he allegedly brutally killed her. Davey Blackburn, the church pastor, said he is relieved that those responsible for his wife's murder have been caught and will not be able to harm anyone else. The tragic death of Amanda Blackburn has deeply touched many, including high-ranking officials, evidenced by the attendance of over 2,000 people at her funeral, including Governor Mike Pence. A donation page was established by her church to assist with funeral and medical costs. Her husband, Davey Blackburn, expressed his faith in the judicial system to bring wisdom to those who have caused immense suffering to his family. Remarkably, he has publicly chosen a path of forgiveness and hope, despite his inner turmoil. The case has captured nationwide attention, featuring in both national and international media. Davey Blackburn transitioned from a grieving spouse to a prominent blogger, using his platform to share his journey through podcasts and videos titled Nothing Wasted. His public appearances and discussions about his wife's death have not only brought him fame but also financial gain, as indicated by an insurance payout following her death. This has led to speculation about the circumstances surrounding the day of the murder. In the time following the tragedy, Davey Blackburn purchased a new home and sold the house where the murder occurred. Despite his loss, he seemed to find happiness, as seen in a blog post celebrating his new residence and the prospect of hosting pool parties. Now remarried, he continues to share his message of turning to faith during difficult times, encouraging others to find solace in spirituality. He invites his audience to stay tuned for more compelling stories on his channel. Please note that this text is a neutral summary and does not reflect any personal opinions or claims. It is important to approach such sensitive matters with respect and care for all involved.